Hey Doxa, hope you had a good time reading through the story of the Good Samaritan this last Sunday. Our family was camping and we took time to act out the parable. Asher volunteered to be the man who fell among the robbers, and so he had ketchup all over his face, and he had to wait there a long time as several people just passed him by, didn't seem to care that much. Anyway, today I just wanted to share with you a few quick thoughts in response to our reading. First of all, I think it's interesting how Jesus told a story in relation to a question. I tend to be pretty direct and to the point, but Jesus often isn't. Paul in the New Testament is clear and bold and right to the point. He doesn't speak in parables, he just tells it like it is. But Jesus seems to be more subversive. He rarely gives these black and white answers. He often leaves things undone. He leaves the question in the air, causing you to wonder and think and to go, what did he mean by that? Jesus is the master teacher, and he leaves some mystery for his readers. And so if you find in the weeks ahead that I'm not answering your questions directly, it's probably because I'm just trying to be more like Jesus. In our story this last week, there is a lawyer who the text says is desiring to justify himself. And he asks Jesus the question, who is my neighbor? It seems that the lawyer wants to know the categories of the kinds of people who might be his neighbor that he would be required to love. And by implication, there would be some people who wouldn't make the list, and therefore he wouldn't be responsible to love. I think it's interesting, Jesus doesn't really answer the question of who the lawyer's neighbor is, but rather he tells a story about a Samaritan man who was an incredibly good neighbor. Jesus gets directly to the lawyer's heart because a Samaritan, a half-Jew, would not have been on the lawyer's neighbor to love list. And here Jesus tells a story about, of all people, the Samaritan who is the hero of the story, who rescues the guy who was mugged. And even at the end of this text, Jesus asks the lawyer, which of these three proved to be a neighbor to the man who fell among the robbers? You would think the lawyer would simply say, the Samaritan man. But maybe he so despised Samaritans that he wouldn't even utter the words. And so he simply says, the one who showed mercy. It's pretty clear that we're called to love our neighbors as ourselves, and that's next door neighbors, but it includes people who are very different from us, who have different backgrounds, different perspectives on life, people who have different skin color, a different nationality, people who come to very different conclusions on the pandemic, on about wearing masks. Think for a moment about the kinds of people who are not like you. Think for a moment about people who vote differently than you do, who are passionate about things that you are against. It seems like Jesus wants to include these kinds of people within the neighbor category, the category that you and I are invited to love. Lastly, I want to challenge you. Have you ever thought about the story from a different perspective? We always imagine ourselves as the Good Samaritan. We're told to be like the Good Samaritan. And this is good. It's not wrong. But rarely are we like the Good Samaritan without Christ in us. Sometimes we're like the man who's been robbed. We're not in good shape. Maybe the world or people has taken from us and robbed from us, and we feel abandoned, and it's like we're left alongside the trail to fend for ourselves. Or maybe we've gone down the treacherous path. We've made poor decisions that have led to our own destruction. We've lost hope, and we don't see any way out of our predicament. And maybe it's that we just blame ourselves for the situation that we're in, but we're stuck. Maybe we've even been like the robbers who lie in wait to take advantage of others. We look for an opportunity to steal, to destroy, to think about our own gain. Maybe we're like the other men who just walk by. We're so busy. Our schedules are filled with no room or margin to help those in need. There's always an excuse, probably lots of good excuses. And so we can relate to all those characters. But who is Jesus in this story? He's the Good Samaritan, isn't he? He is the one who searches out the treacherous pathways He searches for those who've been abandoned, those who've been left half dead. He is the one who comes and finds us and who heals us and who mends our wounds. And he does this at great cost to himself. Let me just read to you from Isaiah chapter 53, verses 5. Over here somewhere. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his wounds we are healed. And we have a good Savior who rescues us when we've lost hope. Hope you've enjoyed reading through the Good Samaritan. Next week we'll dive into the laborers in the vineyard, and so that'll be a great story to reflect on as well. Hope you're having a good week, and we'll see you soon. Bye.